Intense debate ensued in the legislative chamber as the opposition took government head-on regarding the level of corruption in the country. In her address, the Premier pointed out that robust systems have been put in place to root out corruption, making reference to the case of the two former ministers who are currently behind bars on allegations of corruption.
As indicated by His Excellency the President on several occasions, and as should be known to all of us, tackling corruption and the perception of corruption can only be successfully achieved through robust processes, systems, and institutions. The government has put in place a robust governance architecture, and it provides the necessary cooperation and financial support to our law enforcement agencies to enable them to effectively carry out their work.
But this statement was not well received by members of the opposition who accused the ruling party of being the primary author of corruption and covering up such activities.
The fact of the matter still remains that the Prime Minister must admit. I hope that Sophia Shaningwa, the Honorable Sophia Shaningwa, was here so that she could admit herself that SWAPO actually is corrupt.
We are all aware that at the Ministry of Defense there is grandiose corruption happening. Yes. We all are aware that there is corruption. That's why you have a minister that has resigned yesterday. The person who is accused to having played along the ball with the resigned minister is the person who was appointed yesterday as the permanent secretary in that ministry.
And I would want perhaps to ask a question at the end of the day. To understand that the magnitude of corruption in this country is something that does not need just a law, it needs a total paradigm shift.
The Minister, I might say, was already preempting the question that must be answered by the Honourable Slepper about her involvement in a 15 million sale of a farm that was overpriced, double the price of places that are purchased in the Tsumeb area. So she was preemptively protecting and defending herself.
Prime Minister Gugongelo Amadila stood fast in her position that corruption is receiving serious attention.
Yes, we acknowledge that there are still challenges that need to be overcome in this regard. So no, we will not be surprised if new cases of corruption come up. They will be dealt with, and we will continue with efforts to make sure that our systems are waterproof so that we make it difficult for people to engage in those.
Discussion on the issue occupied most of this afternoon's parliamentary proceedings. Jeff Tachihomino, NBC News, Windhoek.